Ethan, a civilian consultant for a corporation renowned for its expertise in terraforming, habitat construction, and life support systems, found himself seated in a sleek, futuristic conference room. The meeting was intended to finalize the development of their latest project. As Ethan glanced at the holographic display brimming with an overwhelming list of restrictions and specifications, he debated whether to speak up. His supervisor, a visibly stressed Ayler, was already buried in the details, and Ethan hesitated to add to the pressure. Ethan had been with the company for years, providing insights on a variety of biospheres and terraforming projects. Yet, he often pondered why his role as a civilian advisor persisted. His last significant input was during the creation of a Class 7 biosphere designed for human habitation. Since then, his primary contribution had been to evaluate the adorableness of non-sapient species for potential introduction, a task that, while trivial, was considered by his employers. Today, however, was different. The team was working on an ambitious Class 10 biosphere, a high-stakes military training environment. While the project excited his colleagues, Ethan felt the designs lacked the intensity one might expect. The weather conditions, though varied, were set to be mild. The strongest wind would only reach 50 units per second, about 45 miles per hour, hardly worse than a breezy day. Hail was absent, and the light rain was scheduled to fall at specific intervals. The ground tremors were minimal, merely causing minor disturbances. The artificial gravity was set to 1.33 times the galactic standard, just shy of the threshold for high gravity. Despite being intended to simulate challenging conditions, the settings were conservative. The temperature range, from -10 degrees Celsius for a tenth of a cycle to 35 to 40 degrees Celsius for another 210 ts of the cycle, mirrored the temperate climate of Earth's Pacific Northwest. The predators planned for the biosphere were, in Ethan's view, more cute than menacing. While dangerous, they seemed more like large, angry cats rather than the terrifying threats they were made out to be. As the project leader, a meticulous engineer named Lars, adjusted the artificial gravity setting for the 5th time during the meeting, Ethan could no longer contain his concerns. He felt the current design barely met the criteria for a Class 10 biosphere, with Class 9 environments seeming more formidable. "Ethan, do you have something to add?" Lars asked, sensing Ethan's growing frustration. "Yes, Lars," Ethan began. "I believe we should reassess the parameters. This biosphere is intended for survival training, and as it stands, it barely qualifies as a Class 10 environment. Even Class 9 conditions might be more suitable for what we're trying to achieve." Lars looked up, his expression a mix of curiosity and irritation. "What are you suggesting?" Ethan took a deep breath. The conditions should be more extreme to effectively challenge the trainees. Increasing the gravity, enhancing the weather conditions, and introducing more aggressive predators could make the training more realistic and valuable. Lars considered Ethan's suggestion thoughtfully, a hint of realization dawning in his eyes. The rest of the team exchanged glances, contemplating the implications of a more rigorous training environment. Ethan's input had the potential to transform the project from a mildly challenging exercise into a truly formidable test. As the discussion continued, Ethan couldn't help but wonder if the design changes would be enough to truly prepare the trainees for the harsh realities of a Class 13 death world. Little did he know, the adjustments he proposed would be just the beginning of uncovering the true nature of Earth's classification and the reasons why it was deemed such a perilous place by outsiders. The atmosphere in the conference room had shifted. Lars, visibly intrigued, leaned forward, his curiosity piqued by Ethan's proposal. The team's initial skepticism was giving way to a serious consideration of the suggested adjustments. As the discussion unfolded, Ethan could sense a growing momentum behind his ideas. Lars nodded thoughtfully. "All right, Ethan, we'll reevaluate the parameters. But let's be clear. If we're going to push these limits, we need to be meticulous. Any misstep could have serious repercussions for the trainees." Ethan agreed, relieved that his concerns were being taken seriously. "Absolutely. We need to ensure the adjustments are feasible and safe, but also challenging enough to provide real-world experience." The team quickly mobilized, diving into recalibrating the biosphere settings. Ethan worked closely with the engineers, including Lars, to intensify the gravity, amplify the weather extremes, and introduce more formidable predators. The changes were rigorous but methodical, aimed at striking the right balance between safety and realism. As the days passed, the project took on a new dimension. The once mild Class 10 environment evolved into a simulation that could be considered on the brink of Class 12. The gravity was increased to 1.5 times the galactic standard, and the weather conditions now included violent storms with winds reaching 75 units per second, about 67 miles per hour. Hail and intense rainfall were incorporated, and the ground tremors were set to create disorienting shakes. The temperature range was expanded to extremes, mimicking the harsh climates of some of the most challenging worlds known to the galaxy. The predators, previously deemed cute, were replaced with more aggressive species. These creatures, with their sharp claws and formidable hunting instincts, were designed to provide a true test of survival skills. Ethan and the team worked to ensure that the new predators were not only challenging but also scientifically accurate to the biosphere's intended environment. During one of the final testing phases, Ethan observed the simulations with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. The once sterile training environment was now a chaotic blend of severe weather, intense gravity, and hostile wildlife. The sight of the new predators in action, their fierce movements and calculated attacks, added a sense of urgency to the proceedings. One evening, as Ethan reviewed the latest simulation data, he received an unexpected message from a high-ranking executive at the corporation. The message was brief but direct. "We've scheduled a visit from the Intergalactic Council to review the Class 10 biosphere. Be prepared to present the latest developments." Ethan's heart raced. The Intergalactic Council was known for its rigorous standards and high expectations. Their scrutiny was a significant step, and the potential implications for the project were considerable. He immediately gathered the team to prepare for the upcoming review. The day of the visit arrived. The Council's representatives, a diverse group of highly authoritative figures, arrived at the corporation's headquarters. Among them was Lyra, a seasoned diplomat known for her expertise in evaluating planetary environments. She had a reputation for being both discerning and thorough. Ethan and Lars led the presentation, showcasing the enhanced biosphere and its newly adjusted parameters. Lyra and her team listened intently, their expressions revealing little of their thoughts. As the presentation concluded, Lyra requested to observe the simulation in real time. Ethan and the team guided her through the different scenarios, highlighting the new challenges incorporated into the biosphere. Lyra's reaction was one of intense focus. She examined the data and observed the simulated environment with a critical eye. After a lengthy review, she convened with her colleagues and prepared to deliver their assessment. The meeting concluded with Lyra addressing the group. "The enhancements made to this biosphere are commendable. The adjustments have indeed increased its complexity and realism. However, I must emphasize that the simulation's current parameters place it on the edge of Class 13, a level that represents extreme danger." The room fell silent. Ethan's heart pounded as he awaited Lyra's final evaluation. The Council will approve the biosphere for military training, with the understanding that further modifications will be required to ensure the safety of the trainees, Lyra continued. "This project has the potential to provide unparalleled training, but it also poses significant risks. We will monitor its implementation closely." With the approval in hand, the team celebrated a hard-earned victory. However, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that the project's success was just the beginning of something much larger. The biosphere's evolution into a near-Class 13 environment had not only impressed the Council but also hinted at deeper truths about the classification system and Earth's place within it. As he walked out of the meeting, Ethan contemplated the implications of the biosphere's new status. Earth's designation as a Class 13 death world was now more than a theoretical label. It was a reality that the team had come perilously close to replicating. The true challenge lay ahead, not just in perfecting the biosphere but in understanding why such extreme classifications existed and what they meant for the future of intergalactic exploration and survival. The journey was far from over, and Ethan knew that the quest to uncover the deeper mysteries of Earth's classification had only just begun. Ethan's relief at the Council's approval was short-lived. As the team returned to their usual routines, a sense of unease settled over him. The approval for the biosphere had come with strings attached, increased scrutiny, and a heightened sense of responsibility. But beneath the surface, something else gnawed at Ethan's mind. an unsettling feeling that the project's intense redesign might have unearthed more than just a challenging environment. A few days later, Ethan was in his office, reviewing the latest data from the biosphere simulations. His comms device chimed with an incoming message. It was from Dr. Serena Malak, a former colleague and expert in xenobiology. Serena was a renowned researcher who had once been deeply involved with the corporation but had left years ago under mysterious circumstances. Ethan hesitated but decided to open the message. It was brief but intriguing. "Ethan, I need to speak with you urgently. I have information that might change everything you think you know about the Class 13 designation. Meet me at the old research facility." Serena. Curiosity and concern propelled Ethan to make his way to the abandoned research facility. The facility, once a hub of innovation, had been decommissioned and left to gather dust. Its darkened corridors and empty labs held a sense of foreboding. As Ethan approached, he found Serena waiting outside, her expression a mix of urgency and caution. "Serena," Ethan greeted, trying to mask his anxiety. "What's this about?" "Ethan, we don't have much time," Serena said, her voice low. "What we've been working on is far more significant than anyone realizes. The Class 13 designation isn't just about environmental danger. It's tied to something far more profound." They entered the facility, navigating through the labyrinth of deserted hallways until they reached Serena's old lab. The room was cluttered with dusty data pads, old research papers, and a large hollow display that flickered to life at Serena's touch. "I've been analyzing some old data," Serena began, pulling up an archive of classified reports. "Years ago, before I left, I came across something disturbing. The Class 13 classification wasn't just a measure of environmental danger, it was a signal. A warning." Ethan's eyebrows knit together in confusion. "A warning? Warning of what?" Serena scrolled through several documents before highlighting a particular report. This document was part of an internal study on extreme world conditions. It included not just environmental factors, but also anomalies related to spatial and temporal disturbances. Essentially, Class 13 worlds are not just hazardous. They exhibit unpredictable phenomena that defy our current understanding of physics. Ethan's mind raced as he absorbed the information. "Are you saying that there's something inherently unstable about these worlds? Something that goes beyond natural hazards?" "Yes," Serena confirmed. "The Class 13 designation appears to be linked to an underlying instability in the fabric of space-time. This instability could manifest in unpredictable ways: gravity anomalies, temporal distortions, and even shifts in physical reality." Ethan stared at the hollow display, which showed simulations of various Class 13 worlds with erratic and dangerous phenomena. "So, what does this mean for our biosphere?" "That's what I'm concerned about," Serena replied, her tone grave. "The biosphere we've been working on, with its intense gravity and harsh conditions, might be inadvertently triggering these anomalies. If the simulations are pushing towards a Class 13 environment, we could be on the brink of creating something far more dangerous than intended." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. "What should we do?" "We need to reevaluate the biosphere's parameters," Serena said urgently. "But more importantly, we need to investigate the underlying causes of these anomalies. If we can understand them, we might be able to prevent any potential disasters." The weight of the situation pressed heavily on Ethan. He knew that taking action would not be simple, especially with the pressure to meet the Intergalactic Council's expectations. However, the potential dangers of mishandling the biosphere were too great to ignore. "I'll take this information back to the team," Ethan said resolutely. "We need to conduct a thorough review and possibly adjust the project's scope." Serena nodded. "Be careful, Ethan. This isn't just about creating a challenging training environment. It's about dealing with forces we barely understand." As Ethan left the facility, the gravity of the situation sank in. The Class 13 designation was more than just a measure of environmental severity. It was a gateway to unknown dangers. The Biosphere Project, initially seen as a routine task, had evolved into a critical endeavor with far-reaching implications. Back at the corporation, Ethan convened an emergency meeting with the team. He shared Serena's findings, and the room was filled with a mix of shock and determination. The engineers and scientists agreed to collaborate closely to address the potential instability and ensure that the biosphere remained within safe operational parameters. The project's scope would have to be revised, and additional safety measures would need to be implemented. As the team worked late into the night, Ethan couldn't help but think about the broader implications of their work. The biosphere might be a microcosm of a far greater mystery, a glimpse into the complexities of intergalactic hazards and the delicate balance between exploration and safety. With renewed resolve, Ethan prepared for the challenges ahead. The quest to understand and manage the dangers of a Class 13 world was just beginning, and the path forward would demand not only scientific expertise but also a deep understanding of the unknown forces at play. The mood within the corporation was tense but focused as the team worked around the clock to address the potential dangers posed by the biosphere. Ethan and Serena had sparked a renewed sense of urgency among their colleagues, and everyone was determined to ensure that the project remained safe and within manageable limits. Ethan had assembled a task force to investigate the anomalies Serena had uncovered. This group consisted of the corporation's top scientists and engineers, including Dr. Arun Patel, a renowned physicist specializing in quantum fluctuations, and Dr. Emily Zhang, an expert in xenobiology and planetary sciences. Together, they began to delve into the complex issues surrounding the Class 13 classification. One evening, Ethan gathered the team in the conference room for a critical update. The walls were lined with screens displaying real-time data from the biosphere simulations. The room was filled with a mix of anxiety and determination as everyone awaited Ethan's briefing. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," Ethan began, his tone serious. "As you know, we've received some alarming insights from Dr. Malak. The Class 13 designation is not just about environmental hazards. It's tied to potential spatial and temporal anomalies. Our task is to identify and mitigate these risks before they escalate." Dr. Patel raised his hand. "Ethan, what specifically are we looking for? What kind of anomalies should we be concerned about?" Ethan pointed to a holographic display showing a simulation of a Class 13 world with severe gravitational distortions and temporal fluctuations. "We need to monitor for any irregularities in gravity, time, and spatial dimensions. These anomalies can cause unpredictable effects, such as sudden gravity shifts, time dilation, or spatial distortions that could jeopardize both the biosphere and the safety of the trainees." Dr. Zhang nodded in agreement. "We'll need to enhance our monitoring systems to detect these anomalies in real time. Additionally, we should consider implementing fail-safes to quickly neutralize any issues before they can escalate." The team set to work, augmenting the biosphere's monitoring systems with advanced sensors and algorithms designed to detect fluctuations in gravity and time. They also implemented contingency protocols to manage any anomalies that might arise. As the days passed, the biosphere underwent a series of rigorous tests. The enhanced systems detected minor fluctuations, but nothing that indicated immediate danger. The adjustments seemed to be holding steady, and Ethan began to feel cautiously optimistic. Then, during a routine system check, one of the sensors picked up a significant anomaly. The gravity fluctuations in a specific sector of the biosphere were exceeding safe parameters, causing disorienting effects. The anomaly was detected just as the biosphere simulation was running at full capacity. Ethan and the team quickly mobilized to investigate. They entered the simulation chamber and observed the affected area through a series of holographic projections. The data revealed an unexpected gravitational spike, creating a localized field with over twice the normal gravity. "This is more severe than we anticipated," Ethan said, examining the readings. "It's possible that the simulation's extreme conditions are interacting with the biosphere's underlying instability, amplifying the effects." Dr. Patel adjusted the sensor's parameters to focus on the source of the anomaly. "We need to recalibrate the simulation's gravity settings and analyze the core of the disturbance. It's critical to understand whether this is an isolated event or a sign of something more systemic." The team worked tirelessly, adjusting the simulation and monitoring the effects of their modifications. After hours of intense scrutiny, they managed to stabilize the gravitational fluctuations and restore normalcy to the affected area. The immediate danger was averted, but the team knew that this incident was a warning of the complexities they were dealing with. As Ethan reviewed the data from the incident, he received another message from Serena. It was an encrypted file labeled Class 13 Anomalies, Preliminary Findings. He opened the file and found a detailed analysis of potential causes and solutions for the anomalies they were encountering. One section of the file caught his attention. The anomalies observed in Class 13 environments may be linked to unknown factors in the fabric of space-time, potentially triggered by extreme environmental conditions. Further investigation is needed to develop effective countermeasures. Ethan realized that Serena's findings were crucial. The nature of these anomalies was still not fully understood, and their implications extended beyond the Biosphere project. He scheduled a meeting with Serena to discuss her insights and explore possible next steps. The meeting took place in Serena's makeshift lab, where she greeted Ethan with a concerned expression. "Ethan, I'm glad you got the file. We need to discuss what we've learned and plan our next moves carefully." Ethan nodded. The recent anomaly was a stark reminder of the risks we're dealing with. Your analysis suggests that the underlying issues are complex and not fully understood. What do you propose we do next? Serena pulled up a holographic projection of a theoretical model showing potential interactions between extreme environmental conditions and space-time anomalies. We need to conduct more extensive simulations to understand the thresholds that trigger these anomalies. We should also collaborate with experts in quantum mechanics and space-time physics to develop a comprehensive strategy for managing and mitigating these effects. Ethan agreed. Let's expand our research and work with external experts. The goal is to not only ensure the safety of our biosphere, but also contribute valuable knowledge to the broader scientific community. As Ethan left Serena's lab, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, but the pursuit of understanding and managing the enigmatic forces behind the Class 13 classification was a crucial step in advancing intergalactic exploration. The Biosphere project had become a gateway to uncharted territory, both literally and scientifically. With each new discovery, Ethan and his team were peeling back layers of complexity, unraveling the mysteries of a world that existed on the edge of known space and reality.